Hi guys, my name is Kofa Felicity. You're welcome to the Agro Grain Club of Ghana Christian International High School, PAC. And in this video, we're taking you on a tour to our maize farm and where we are going to learn about how to apply fertilizer to our maize and some of the cultural practices. And guess what? We're also going to consider how to nest plantain sucker. And if you are very much interested in this video, let's go to the farm.
To show you two things: how to apply fertilizer and then some of the cultural practices we carry out during the maize cultivation. Stay tuned and enjoy this video.
Welcome to Ghana Christian International High School. Here is our farm, here is our garden, and we are performing some groundwork here. And we know in Ghana here we cultivate many varieties of maize, and the most prominent among them is Dobidi, Okomasa, Tamale Yellow, and the rest. And those that we have in our garden here is the Tamale Yellow. And as you can see, my colleagues are performing some groundwork. Some are planning to control the weeds, and some too are doing manual works.
So we are in our school garden where we have cultivated some maize plants. So I'll be talking about maize. Maize is from the it's in the subdivision Angiosperma and the class Monocotyledona, and it's a cereal grain which is from the grass family Gramineae. Okay, so maize is grown through the West African countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, and Burkina. So maize can be made in a pap which is suitable for feeding children. Also, when you go to Nigeria, it is made in their, it is mainly prepared in their dishes like ekute. And when you come to Ghana, we have some foods like banku, kenke, and the rest. So when you take maize, it's also good for feeding poultry, like the maize grain is used in feeding poultry. Also, the young maize plants can be used to feed cows, sheep, and goats.
My name is Eramase Goyeshen, and I'm about to talk about one common disease which affects the maize, and it's called the maize streak virus. This disease is caused by a virus, and it can be like, when you know it's affected is when the leaves of the plantains pale or whitish, like you get some whitish strips on the leaves of the plants. And this disease can also cause the plants to have a stunted growth. In order to control this disease, we have to use recommended pesticides and also burn affected leaves and plants.
Okay, so my name is Jeanette Ketuwa Mensah. I'm from the class year 11 G4, and I'm here to talk about a common disease that affects our maize at our farm. And it goes by the name maize leaf, and this is caused by fungus. Fungus is more like a virus pathogen that is also caused by fungus. And you can also verify, or you can also see that this my maize is also affected by this disease called maize leaf. And you can identify it by seeing or by viewing some small dark spots on these leaves. And this can also be controlled by using recommended fungicide. Thank you.
Nana Mabonsha is my name, and I'm in year 11 G4. I'm here to talk about one of the diseases, which is the corn rust. Okay, when we talk about the corn rust, you can identify the corn rust in our maize farm when the maize turns reddish brown. The example is this type of maize. We can see the corn rust in the maize. It has turned reddish brown. Yeah. So, and it can be controlled by spraying of pesticide in our farm to clear the maize the corn rust from our maize farm.
We are going to talk about maize, everything about maize. So when you have a maize or you grow a maize, some of the things you are going to experience, both the good side and that of the bad side. So when you plant a maize, sometimes they grow well without you getting any side effects, and some of the time you have to face challenges with pests. And sometimes in growing the maize, you also have to consider your fertilizer application. And before you even start to grow the maize, you think about how to clear the land. You have to clear the land and check in the spacing and everything, how you are going to plant the maize. And depending on the size of your land, it's going to determine the spacing in which you are going to create when you plant the maize. And sometimes when you plant the maize, sometimes it will not fully germinate. Some of the seeds you plant will not grow entirely, so you have to replant. And so when you go through the maize farm, there are some of the practices you can see that there are 3 or 2 maize at one spot, and with this the maize cannot grow well because you have to give it space. Because they are crowded together, the nutrient is not really evenly distributed among them, so you have to do a practice that we call thinning out, to separate them, the ones that are together, so that they can grow well. And then another thing is that even though the maize will grow well, after the thinning out, you have to face challenges with pests. Some of the pests, the main thing they focus on is the vegetative part. That has to do with the armyworm. And then some of them, they also eat the stem. That's the stem borer. And then the effect they cause to it is that they perforate holes. That has to do with the armyworm. They perforate holes inside the vegetative part. And then with the stem borer, what they do is that they put holes inside the stems. And then with time, once the plant is there, and then it will just fall. So another way to prevent all of these things was to apply systemic insecticide. This is done. This method of application, fertilizer application, helps the plant to be kind of a way to prevent insects or pests from affecting the maize plant. So in this way, when the fertilizer is being applied to it, it goes through the parts, they go inside the maize plant. And with this one, the pest, it becomes kind of toxic to the pest. And so with this one, they can't feed on it, and it helps the maize to grow well. And then after all of those practices, you also have to apply fertilizer. And one of the main fertilizer you can talk about is NPK. With the application of this one, if the fertilizer, if the maize lacks nitrogen, you can see that there are kind of yellowish leaves, like something like this. You can see that there's kind of yellowishness on the leaves. So with this one, you can see that there's a nutrient deficiency in this one.
I'm Opokuyin Izesiama from 11G4, and I'm here in our maize farm to talk about the cultural practices we take during our maize cultivation. One is weed control. You can see people here weeding. One way to control weed is to weed the weed out of the farm. If not, it will affect the maize plants. And we can also control the weed by applying pesticides or weedicides.
And I'm here to talk about the climate conditions needed for maize planting. So then, maize requires an average temperature of 14 to 30 degrees Celsius and an average rainfall of 75 to 150 millimeters of rain per year. Also, maize grows well maize requires a regular supply of water and grows well in moist soil.
Today, we are going to apply our compound fertilizer, which is NPK, to our crops. You can see most of our crops are lacking nitrogen, and we are going to use side dressing method. And this is how you are going to do it. You just put it side of the maize plants, one by one. This is how you are going to do it. So I know by this time you've learned it in the classroom, so you are going to demonstrate it on the field today. So let's move.
Some of our plants are showing some nitrogen deficiencies. Some symptoms are yellowing of the leaves and stunted growth and slendering of stems. So they lack nitrogen. That's why we are seeing all these symptoms. So the application of nitrogen helps to stabilize them and get rid of these abnormalities.
Hi, my name is Payo Satiere, and I'm the agriculture prefect in Ghana Christian International High School. And I'm here to teach you a new way of planting plantain. And this method is known as the plantain suckers multiplication. And this method, we take one sucker of plantain like this, you cut off the stem, and then you kill the merry stem so that a new one will sprout out. And after you cut the stem, you put them under the sawdust and cover it with the sawdust so that it will heat and new ones will sprout out. So this is how we do it. So for example, we got 10 suckers of plantain like this, and we planted them here so that it will sprout out new ones. And this is the result you are getting. And you have even transplanted some to here. We've got about 50 of them and even more. So that's what we are seeing here. Advantage of this over the traditional way of planting plantain is that for this one, if you get one sucker like this, you can get about 20 plantains out of it. But for the traditional one sucker will give you one plantain. For example, so the 10 suckers that we had, this you can get about 10 of them, but for this method, you can get about 150 of them. So this is the advantage of the plantain method multiplication over the traditional.
One may ask, why are we doing this process? One, it saves costs. For example, where we are now, we can buy one sucker for 10 Ghana cedis. But then, so going for 30 suckers, which will cost you like 300 Ghana cedis, you can go in for 3 of it, which is 30 cedis. And out of these 30 cedis, you can get much of this one from that 3 plantain suckers that you buy. And again, this one grows faster than the normal one. And the fruits that it bears are also healthy than the normal one. This one is resistant to disease and other effects. So it is good you go for this method, which is the plantain sucker multiplication. It is fast, it saves cost, and also have a healthy fruits.
Okay, my name is Mr. Dennis Edward Aloriwe. I am a teacher of Ghana Christian International High School at Poma Adeso campus. As you can see, the agri team is here with some students on our school farm. And as you can see, we have cultivated some maize. Now this maize was cultivated by the agri team together with the students. Now currently, we have a misconception that agriculture is mainly for people who have not been to the classroom. So the team thought it wise to change that misconception. In view of that, we involve the students in the planting. We involve the students in the agri work here. And then it has been able to encourage most of them. And then some are even planning on entering into the agri sector. When we look at some of the developed countries, such as China, they have taken agriculture so seriously and have even taken it to another level. To the extent that even Ghana, sometimes we import some of their produce into the country. And then they have been able to achieve that by instilling the act of agri into their children right from infancy. And then the team also thought it wise to also do that. So we want to instill into them the act of agriculture so that it will encourage a lot of them to enter into the sector of agriculture, which will boost the economy of the country.
Initiative comes from Professor Stephen Adair. He has really been supportive from the scratches of this project. And we thank the whole school team, Ghana Christian, the principal, the vice principal, and the accountant for their great support during our cultivation of the maize. We hope a lot of things are coming on board as we are planning to establish our school poultry farms. This is the Agro Green Club of Ghana Christian High International School. We thank you for watching this program. very much and we appreciate what you have done for us. Bye.